right now. It may sound crazy, but there may be people tracking you right now using your phone. But how can you be sure this is actually going on? Well, there's some tips and numbers you can actually dial to find out if you're being tracked. I'm also going to show you a way to find your phone if it's ever stolen without using any apps whatsoever. And most importantly, how to stop people from tracking you using your phone. But first, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too? Can you imagine anything worse than someone tracking you and looking at everything on your phone? You may have something very private on your phone, like private images or text messages. Whether it's a Facebook password or your credit card information, it's not something you want other people to see. Well, believe it or not, many people actually have hacked phones. Out of all the billions of phones in the world, an estimated 40% of them have some kind of hack. This is usually a simple virus which has been installed onto their phone. These do things like transfer your calls, messages and other data somewhere else. Wherever they're being diverted to then has all of your information and they can do very bad things with this. People have had their identities stolen simply because of a virus on their phone. But what's a way you can actually check if your phone is being tracked? Well, don't worry, you don't need to be some kind of computer genius. And you don't even need to install any apps. All you need to do is use your number pad and type in numbers. If it seems like no one can get through to you and you can't call anyone else, then your calls may be being redirected. Well, if it seems like your calls and messages are being redirected, you can use this code. In the number pad, simply put in *#62#. This will allow you to see if someone's tracking you by redirecting all of your calls. If your calls are being redirected, this means every time someone tries to call you, it actually goes to a different number. And that also happens if you try to call anyone else. Let's say you try and call someone else, instead it will simply go to a different number. This is usually used to spy on people and try and hack them for their personal information. People give out things like banking information and passwords over the phone. Of course you should never do this, but many people are not security conscious and do it anyway. But luckily if your calls are being redirected, you should be able to tell as no one will be able to get through to you. And of course you won't be able to call or text anyone else. But what if people can call you and you can call other people? Well, that doesn't mean you're not being tracked. You never know, your calls, messages and mobile data may actually be being redirected somewhere else. This is called a diversion. You can still make calls and text people, but someone else will see them and track whatever you're saying. This is a very common thing that happens to many people's phones. But before we look into how it happens and how to stop it from happening, check whether it's happening to you. All you need to do in your keypad is press *#21#. When you type this in, the phone number that all of your information is being diverted to will show up on your screen. Some parents actually do this to their children's phones to check up on them and make sure they're not getting into trouble. So if you believe your parent may be spying on you and tracking you using this code, then type it into your keypad. Other people, like criminals, may also be doing this to try and harvest your data. This data is actually very valuable and can be stolen on the dark web. People who do this usually hack thousands of phones at once using a bot. They then sell the information on to other people. If you go on the dark web, you can actually buy stolen Facebook passwords for $1. These trackers can also happen if you lend your phone to a stranger. It's a popular scam nowadays in many countries where someone will come up to you and ask to make a phone call. You may think that simply allowing them to borrow your phone is no big deal, but what you don't know is they've actually put a virus onto your phone which allows them to track you. But let's say your phone is having a diversion or a redirection. What exactly can you do to stop these people tracking your phone and maybe taking your data? Well, it's actually very simple and it's just one more keypad number. If you dial ##002#, this will switch off all forms of redirection. This code is universal and works in every country and it will switch off any diversions or redirections on your phone. That way, if your phone is being hacked and tracked, then you can turn it off simply using this one code. It also helps to use some kind of antivirus software on your cell phones. Both the Android and iPhone App Store offer various antivirus apps which work great. This will make it much harder for anyone to try and hijack and track your phone. So that's how to protect your phone digitally. But another thing many people want to do is protect their phone physically. What I mean by that is making sure that your cell phone hasn't been stolen by someone. Let's say someone has stolen your phone and you can't find it. You may try to use an app like Find My iPhone, but this can easily be turned off. The person who stole your phone can simply take your SIM card out and then put a new one in. But there's one way to track a phone to make sure it's never lost or stolen. And because it's built into the phone's hardware, there's nothing the thief can do to turn it off. This is called your IMEI number. This stands for International Mobile Equipment Identity Number. This is a unique 15-digit number which is attached to every single phone. It's nothing to do with the SIM card or anything that can be swapped out, and it's actually built into the phone's hardware. You can actually use this number to track where your phone is to make sure it's never lost or stolen. But how do you find out what your IMEI number actually is? Well, it's simple. All you have to do is enter *#06# into your keypad. This will then display your 15-digit IMEI number. You should write this down in case your phone is ever taken. That way you can track where it is. Hopefully you can now rest easy with the knowledge that you'll never be able to lose your phone or get it stolen again. If someone steals your phone, you can simply track it and then report that location to the police. And if you lose it, of course you can trace it back to where you left it. But before we end this video, let's go back to phone tracking. Other than call redirection and diversions, is there any other way you can be tracked while using your phone? Well, believe it or not, the government can actually see what you're doing on your phone. The NSA has the ability to see what anyone's doing on any phone. However, there is one way to get around this, and that is by using an encrypted service. Encrypted services are totally closed to outsiders as the messages only go between two parties. Apps such as Signal or Telegram are used by government officials and celebrities. That's because they're encrypted and no one else can see into their messages and see their very secret things. This also works great in countries which block certain parts of the internet. Another thing you can use is a VPN. Your IP address is used to locate you and your location. But if you use a VPN, it will give you a brand new one in a totally different place. So, those are ways to make sure even the government can't track you while using your phone. And of course, we've already covered the ways we can stop hackers from tracking us using our phones too. And of course, who could forget the essential IMEI number? Just think how many people had their phones lost or stolen and simply bought a new one when they could have tracked it using this number. So, those were the ways to find out who's tracking you, how to stop them doing it, and also how to prevent your phone from getting lost or stolen. Vote in the top right hand corner whether you've ever had a phone lost or stolen. Luckily I haven't, and I don't think I ever will now that I know my IMEI number.